Henshin to go baby, what's good guys, Yoku here, and yeah, I know what this video looks like, but it's not, I swear. But maybe it's not, I don't know what the thumbnail is. Anyway, point being is that Sorry Mtashed's video last night, and I don't want this to spark some weird war or whatever between Mtashed and I, because I was told that that's how the gacha community is. I don't know, I would like to be proven wrong. I'm not here for any type of disgruntlement between him and I. Real quick, post edit me. I cannot put the proving whatever wrong about the team combos and the style and stuff like that. The actual thing that I'm considering what Mtashed is wrong about is not in this video. It's in a separate video, because if I put it in this video, you guys are gonna get a 40-minute video. I don't want to do that. I'm not saying his feelings are wrong. I want to make that very clear. I know the title is probably whatever it is. It's just a strong title because YouTube, but his feelings are valid. What he's saying about the characters, the teams, the skills, everything like that, that is factually incorrect. And that's what I'm proving in a different video. Back to the video. I would love to talk. Hopefully we talk on the podcast. I think that's what Tecton was trying to set up. He did reach out. So we'll see if that happens. But regardless, I've been really sitting here trying to figure out how I want to go about explaining this to you guys and being able to talk about it. So I broke this down into 3 different categories or 3 different ways that would make it easier for me to talk about it. 1, I'm going to compile a list of all the issues that I think are common, and then issues that might be like they'll get fixed later on in the gameplay, or these are major problems that everybody has an issue with, whatever. If you guys want to let me know those issues, feel free to comment. I'm going to compile it and then send it off to the Zenless team. I do have the means to do so. So if any help would be greatly appreciated on getting all that stuff together. 2 is that I've noticed a lot more creators, a lot more players talking and speaking out on this. And as I listen to them, as I've spoken, right? Like I watched Tecton's reaction to my video. I'm really thankful he did that. And I was able to listen to different perspectives while also watching them do it. I've been watching their streams and stuff like that. So I have a much better understanding of why I feel the way I do, why they feel the way they do, and what I want to say about it. So I'm going to use Mtashed's video here not as like a direct means of responding to him, more so as a means of responding to the issue itself, because I do think that from what I've seen in stream at least, he brings up some really good points that I think should be taken into consideration that players like myself and others were not doing initially. And by this point, we can kind of like look at it. Oh gosh, it's loud.
Let's talk about Zenless Zone Zero. All right. Am I like?
My bad.
Am I gonna play it? Where are we at with this thing? There's a few things I want to get started here.
Right, right.
Number 1 is if you look at my initial impressions. All right. There's a pretty happy Mtashed here. Really happy Mtashed. Had a good time. I checked out the characters. I checked out the combat. We're doing some combos. I had a good time for the first few hours. But after about 4 hours, 4.5 hours, I ended up making this review. A 35-minute long saga talking about everything. And you can tell by the end of it, I'm pretty dejected.
I will point out just real quick, 4 hours in stream time. Maybe you watch a lot of streamers, I don't know, but like 4 hours for me in stream time, 4 hours for any streamer is not a real 4 hours. I'm not discrediting that. I just want to point that out, that like 4 hours for us while we're streaming, that's a lot of time. Okay. In game progression, if you weren't streaming and you were just playing the game, you could probably crush that in about like an hour, 2 hours, give or take. So it might just be that. I do see that he's around level 14. I don't think level 14 is about 4 hours deep, but I could be wrong.
The first few hours of the game, I enjoyed it quite a bit. The longer I played it, the more frustrated I became, and the more I started to realize, uh-oh, I'm not sure I'm going to like this. I'm not sure if other people are going to like this. And honestly, I think that this game, if not changed, has the risk of being one of the bigger flops that Hoyo has seen in the last few years.
This comment here, that it has the highest chance of being Hoyo's biggest flop, I don't disagree with that. I heard him say this and I sat there and I thought about it because I talked with a few other creator friends too. And I was like, why? And they disagree completely. But the more that I discussed with them and the more that I thought about it, it made a lot more sense. And I'll explain this. He might go over this in the video here, but from hearing that alone, the general idea, the general concept that I have with that it might be the biggest flop is simply because of the fact that this game, like I mentioned in my previous video, doesn't know its target audience. And yeah, they might be learning that now, but when you don't know your target audience and you're just kind of throwing dart to the wall, you have the highest chance of missing said dart because you don't really know what you're aiming for. In the case of Hoyoverse specifically, there's too many options that they could do right now, like too many routes. Yeah, they could go left, right, up, down, in the middle, whatever. There's too many of it or too much of it. In the case that Hoyo decides to take a similar approach to what Mtashed and I, as well as Tectone, right? A lot of these players who want a more difficult challenge, you lose out on the audience of like easier content. I think the biggest hurdle here though is, and I know he says it in this video, I know it, and it took me a full week of playing the game to fully accept this fact. It shouldn't take you Kamoshida's Palace, like the length of Kamoshida's Palace, to get remotely close to a point of being able to enjoy the game. If you naturally enjoy the game, awesome. That's where I am. But I will admit, I don't like the TV mode. The more I played it, the more frustrated I got. And it's not because it's not unique or interesting. There are some pretty interesting and unique hollows, that's what they're called, the hollow experience. There's a lot of that, and some of them are really cool, but then you have some that are really stupid. Like there's one where you need to keep the bombs or keep the enemies from getting to the robot behind you or whatever. I don't want to have to do that instead of playing the game. And that part of the game, it's not a roguelike at all. That has nothing to do with roguelike mechanics. In fact, the roguelike that you actually do get to in the game is basically in-game. Once you breach level 30, you finish chapter 3 or so, you get the full access, or you get the capability. I said 35, level 35. You get the full capabilities of doing this roguelike experience. That is where a lot of what you're gonna get comes from. The TV mode is its own thing at this point. It has, I have to retract my statement from the previous video that the TV mode was the roguelike mode. It has it, right? But like in the roguelike mode, you have to go to the TV, and that's what gets you the buffs and the debuffs, but that's not the roguelike itself. And I'm not a fan of it. I don't think anyone is a fan of it at this point, especially early on, because they're tedious, they're dumb, you don't need them. There's a lot, but we can continue.
I know that is a big claim, and I know that some people don't like my opinions and they think I'm a jerk, but I'm just gonna be honest with you. I want to walk you through how I got here. I think that Zenless Zone Zero is a little bit in trouble. I think there's some really good ones out there.
Really good character designs.
Kits. I really like Billy.
Yeah, Billy's the
this
Deadpool.
Guy
I love
is
it.
My boy.
Yeah.
I like this big bear model. It's fun. It's different. I'm sick of the exact same, anime character models. This is awesome.
That I know a lot of you are like, oh man, this game has furries, I don't want it. And it's like, dude, regardless of the furry aspect behind it, because like if you don't like furries, that's cool, I get it. Some people have like a huge distaste for just animal humanoids, but in general, the designs are really good. I don't think anyone can take that away from the game.
The issue is within an hour and a half of combat, I started to question, what's the point of all this? What's the point of this combat? I think that for the first little while, the combat is pretty fun, and it's a pretty good time, and I enjoyed it. But after an hour or two, it felt quite spammy and button mash to win.
Okay.
And then I looked into the kits to see, is there skill expression? Are there cool combos? Are there ways for me to be better than the average person?
Right.
And with certain units like this guy who can counter, maybe.
False.
But with some of the units, literally no.
Completely
Literally
incorrect.
Press buttons, win.
I have to go in the game to show you guys this, and I might leave that towards the end of the video just so that we can get through the reaction here, or I might put it in a completely different video. I don't know. I don't want to give you guys like double the length of this, but I think it's already double the length. Anyhow, this is completely false. The reason I say this, and it's not his fault. I mean, it is, but it's not. It's his fault because he hasn't done the work to get there. It's not his fault because he shouldn't have to progress so far in the game to get to this point where he can see this. Now, I don't say all of this to, once again, discredit anyone's opinions on the game, as I am in agreement. I do think that having to go this far in the game in order to get a lot of this stuff or access to this stuff, I'm not a fan of that. And I think it should happen much earlier on. But I do think at the bare minimum, you should reach level 15 in order to get whatever it is about the game, understand it, understand the characters, the combos, what can work and what doesn't work, because you don't actually get anything team related until you're level 15. Before level 15, everyone feels like their own character. Once you hit level 15, that's when you get to start understanding how teams work, how these two play together, how these three play together. If I want to go mono team, if I don't want to do mono team, what are the benefits to mono versus not mono, 2 physicals, 1 physical, things like that.
2 damage. There's not a lot of support. There's no real healing. It's essentially pick a team and do as much damage as you can while dodging attacks. And that's fine, but the combat and the team building got so boring so quickly, I was shocked. Now in Genshin Impact, we've got elemental stuff, we've got healers, we've got buffers, we've got shielders, we've got debuffers, we've got lots of different things.
This is right here on this part. This is where I would start to disagree. what he's talking about, especially with like the elemental stuff, it's in this game. He just hasn't gotten access to it yet. Like he has shock, he has Anbi, he has physical, he has Nekomata and Korin, he has burn. That's going to be through the bear Ben, but Ben doesn't really apply it the same way that others do, like Soldier 11. And he also has freeze from Sao Coco. So he has the means of doing these elemental combos or adding things together, but he's missing the core skill, the team functionality itself. He does not have access to yet because he's not level 15. And so that's a big thing that I tried to explain to you guys with the game presentation just now, is that certain things just don't exist to you until you reach that point in the game. That is where I agree shouldn't be a thing. Like, I'm not sure why they did it that way, but it's weird.
And for some reason in Zenless Zone Zero, it didn't feel like I really cared who was on my team, other than if I enjoyed their attacks and their animations. There's so many animations, there's so many things that are going on, and it really feels currently that I can just press buttons and win. Now, people are saying, then, well, you're not getting to the end game. In the end game, it's all about skill.
Yeah.
And it might be. Dodging at the right time is probably very important. And the end game maybe changes things, but if their kits don't change, if there's no more depth in these kits other than having to dodge and play perfectly,
Yeah,
I'm not sure how they will make this combat more fun or in-depth or exciting or different. I just don't know.
I wouldn't.
That is the issue.
And that's kind of what I was trying to explain to you guys as well, is that it's not something their innate thing to do won't change, but because the game, it's a very active game, you change what they're doing with said thing. And I think that's more important. And it might be, I really don't know. Like I'm very excited to actually sit down and have that conversation with him during the podcast, because I want to know where he's like, his thought process is on that, with like, especially with like Genshin Impact, right? Where in Genshin, my character, like Ayaka doesn't change. You know what? Like her skill doesn't change at all. Hu Tao doesn't, I guess I activate skill, turn on fire spear, and then, you know, I do the same 1-2 charge, 1 charge, 1-2 charge jump, 1-2 charge dash, right? I do the same thing. So I'm not understanding why Zenless is being put in the category of like, oh, the character doesn't change, the skills don't change, they don't change the way the character plays, when in any other Hoyo game, that's not the case at all. The only character I can think of at the top of my head that changes would be Jing Liu, and even then honestly, that's a lie, because that'd be the same concept as Hu Tao. They all function the same way. I don't understand.
And the other issue is, if the game is more fun in the end game, then my complaint is I'm not sure I will get to the end game, because oh my god,
yes,
the amount of times I have to go and do these puzzles,
stupid TV,
and do these little things is shocking.
Yes. All right, we're at the part where like this TV. Fuck, dude, this TV is so annoying. I can't.
Doing these little puzzles.
Can't stand it.
This is like the main, like, almost exploration of some of the game.
Yes.
This is so bad.
Yes. Yeah, please change this, Zenless.
That it's like, I don't know if I want to even play this game.
Yep.
And other people aren't going to say this or feel this way. And some people like to play Snake and have a bunch of fun in the arcade.
I don't like playing Snake either. I don't like the arcade games.
I'm not going to play Snake. I'm not going to go for the world record. I'm not saying that the people are weird or anything like that. It's just, that's their prerogative. That's their forte. Their chat will watch them do that.
Right.
I don't find stuff like that interesting. I am like an Elden Ring,
yep.
Dark Souls.
I'm right there with you, bro.
Final Fantasy, like bosses fighting.
Yes.
Teams.
I want the action. I'm right there with him. I'm right there with him on that fact, because yeah, I do want the action. I don't really care about the puzzles. Now, granted, I'm a big fan of Zelda. I like puzzles in my gameplay. I don't like puzzles being their own mode that I have to put so much brain power into. But guys, when I tell, especially if you haven't played this game, if you guys haven't breached like level 25, like the deep end of chapter 2, and you've been doing the side commissions, you have no idea what I'm talking about. Some of these modes in the game, the TVs, the puzzles are so tedious. You have to think about them. There's one where when you move, the enemy moves, but before you get to that point, every 2 moves that you make, they make 1 move. Then it gets to a point where every move you make, they make the move. And when you get to this point, normally what the game teaches you is that you cannot be on the same square as someone else. And so when you move to that square, something happens, right? If I go to the gold coin, I get the gold coin. In the other TV thing, which is the puzzle I'm talking about specifically, when you move and the enemy moves, it's like at the same time. When you move and they move, you can actually cross over. So that's how you beat it. There's gonna be times where it's like, oh, don't get hit or don't set off a trap. The trap is the enemy. It's annoying. I don't like the things like that. I would much rather that be in the game or some kind of way, you know? But guys, I don't want to give y'all, because it's already 30 minutes. I didn't realize how long this would actually take. Damn, Tectone, how do you do this? How do you do this and not catch flack, man? I don't want to catch flack for this, but guys, I really just wanted to use Mtashed's video as a means to agree and express the same opinions that I think are issues. But I also wanted to point out some of the discrepancies with those takes, especially like the character thing, the team thing, because that is something that's in Genshin Impact. It's in Honkai Star Rail, it's in Honkai Impact. And it's something that unfortunately in this game, you don't have access to from the start. When I first start a game in Genshin Impact and I get Noelle and Kaya or whoever, I can immediately start doing elemental reactions. I'm not able to do team reactions in Zenless until my account level is level 15. And that's so weird to me. I don't think that's a good thing at all. And that goes in what I was saying earlier. I think with them having too many options, too many routes, that's what is going to lead them towards a bigger flop. So hopefully, I personally want this to be the last beta. I don't want a third beta, but that's because I want my hands on the game as early as possible. I would personally prefer them to take everything that I'm about to send them, that we're giving them as feedback. Guys, do that survey. There's like 20 surveys in the game. Please fill them out. I know it's tedious. It takes a long time. Please fill them out because they're actually reading. That's where most of their information is going to come from, that survey, their feedback. They also have a Reddit. There's a Reddit thread. I'll try and link it if I can remember to find it, where they're every week they're taking feedback. They want it as you progress. They want new feedback every week. So they archive the thread and then make a new one. Please respond to them with like legit feedback. Stop doing the bring back Nicole's tits things. I know we all want it. It doesn't actually help the game. So we need, like, you know what I mean? Like, I would rather the game be good than Nicole having double F cups in the game and we get this version of the game. There's a lot of things wrong with the game right now that I cannot discuss, but just know this game, if it releases the way it is now, as much as I love it, I would also hate it. And so if I'm at a crossroad, I know you guys are not going to be happy with this at all, especially like the working class, the ones that are playing this casual. It's problematic, but whatever. I'm excited to have that discussion with him on the podcast. I really want to get everyone's opinions on it and see where people's thought processes are, be able to openly discuss things and go from there. I'm gonna get out of here. Consider this the big banger video for the week. I gotta work on the Argenti guide and the Hanya stuff. I really just don't feel like playing Star Rail right now, but it is what it is. Anyway, smell you later.